The Florida Gators need to use the bye week to address a lot of glaring weaknesses.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free breakfast in the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Tuesday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Giants Country and NFL 33. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And the Florida Gators are on a bye week after their victory over Mississippi State. They are 2-2 now on the season. They have a gauntlet to end the season. Really, the next 8 games, no easy ones. None. At all. You need to fix a lot of issues. I'm starting on offense with the run game. It's just been far too inconsistent for a team that ever since Billy Napier got hired, it's kind of been implied that, hey, this is the focal point of this team. This is the focal point of this offense. We want to run the ball. We want to successfully run the football. And against Miami, you had 139 rushing yards, but a lot of those came, first off, 71 of them came on a Montrell Johnson touchdown run. Secondly, you had DJ Lagway pick up, I think it was 15 on one play. Right there, that's 86 of your 139 yards on 2 carries out of 28. Rough stuff. Against Samford, rushed for 166. You threw for almost 500. They knew what they were doing there, right? Texas A&M, you have 52 yards on 25 carries. Horrendous. And then Mississippi State, you pick up 226 yards on the ground against a horrendous Mississippi State rush defense where they constantly come out in 3 down linemen and they just get pummeled consistently. That's it. Your run game has not been impressive this year. Even if the numbers look okay, your run game as a whole has not looked impressive this year. And that's just something that the Florida Gators kind of desperately need to fix. We're at the point where it's you've built this team to do this, and you cannot get them to do this. Florida right now ranks 12th in the SEC in rushing yards per game. 12th out of 16, by the way. Because don't forget, now we've got Texas and Oklahoma in there. 12th out of 16. They've got 145.8 yards per carry, or 148 yards per game. They've got 4.7 yards per carry, which ranks 10th in the SEC. They are not a team that is imposing their will on literally anybody. They just can't do that. They don't. I don't know what it is about it, but they just can't do it, right? You also need to figure out your running back rotation because right now, Montrell Johnson might be your favorite back, but he is not your best performing back. And that's what matters, right? On a per touch basis, he's not your best performing back. He's got 232 yards, under 5 yards per carry, 3 touchdowns, and a fumble against Mississippi State. Tryon Webb, 4.5 yards per carry, but he runs. I feel like Tryon Webb creates more than Montrell Johnson does. Like Montrell's got 146 yards after contact. We'll pull up a little calculator here. That's 62.9% of his yards come after contact. Tryon Webb's at 71%. So like I said, Tryon Webb is creating more for himself compared to Montrell. And Tryon Webb has just been the best back on the team so far, which is wild because, again, Tryon Webb is someone that after last year, I was like, I'm really not impressed with the film from his freshman year. We'll see what we have. But he has made strides. He runs more violent. He runs with more just intent. He's making quicker decisions as a ball carrier. He's running considerably better than everybody. And I want to make this clear too. Montrell Johnson isn't playing poorly, okay? I am not knocking Montrell at all. He's just not running as well as Tryon Webb, Jaden Ball, or Jacoby Jackson. And you can give he's been running way more than them. So, there's more opportunities for plays to get hit behind the line of scrimmage, plays get blown up. The backups come in with fresh legs and they come in, create some explosive run and call it a day. Sure. On a touch-by-touch basis, though, he's being significantly outperformed. Jaden Ball's got almost 10 yards per carry, by the way. Might want to give him the football. Jacoby Jackson's over 6 yards per carry. Might want to give him the football a little bit. Figure out the rotation. I talked about this, I think it was on yesterday's show, where I was like, hey, Montrell had 15, Tryon had, I think, 6. Ball had, I think, 3, and Jacoby Jackson had, I think, 4. And I was like, what if you bring Montrell down to 10 and then bring the other ones up 2 or 3 each and kind of make that adjustment? I think that it can significantly improve your rushing attack. And honestly, again, Montrell's not doing anything special. He's not doing anything special as a pass catcher, so it's not that either. He's been outperformed on a per-touch basis by everybody. And Tryon Webb has emerged as your best pass-protecting back. So while last year it was a cop-out to go, Trevor Etienne's not starting because of pass blocking. Trevor Etienne wasn't starting because Billy Napier is going to start his guy, right? Call a spade a spade. Montrell doesn't even have the pass blocking moniker anymore. He's not the best one there. And I will also say it's not just Montrell. Like it's your scheme is also just, as in your run game scheme, is just weird. We've talked a lot about Texas A&M and UCF, and I've talked about how they've got really fun and explosive run scheme because they do. Colin Klein at Texas A&M, Gus Malzahn at UCF, they draw up just sick run game. They do. Florida had a pin pull concept that they pulled out in week 1 against Miami. 71-yard rushing touchdown from Montrell Johnson. Huge gain. They didn't, and that was in the first half of Miami game. They didn't run it the rest of that game. It hasn't become a consistent part of the run. Honestly, I don't even know if they've run it since then. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, I don't know if they've run it since then. Now that I'm thinking about it, but it's like that's the kind of thing with this coaching staff that just blows my mind. Let's say they've run it on average 1 time per game, right? You have a play that popped for a 71-yard touchdown against what number? I think they're number 7 in the country team. Defense has been playing lights out for Miami. You have a play that popped a 71-yard touchdown there, and you didn't make that a consistent part of your run game. That's the thing that drives me crazy. It worked. Go back to it. Just go back to it. And I've spoken to players on the team, and it's like, yeah, I thought we'd go back to that more often. Didn't do it. Like it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand where the logic comes of, yeah, we picked up 71 yards with Montrell Johnson against this apparently pretty damn good Miami defense. But why would we do it again? Let's just run inside zone, right? Makes no sense to me. Also, you've got Hayden Hansen, who I believe is one of the better blocking tight ends at the FCS or FBS level, at the SEC level, really, in the country. Hayden's one of the better blocking tight ends around. Tony Livingston looks pretty good as a blocker. Run the damn ball behind them. Like, that's one thing that Hayden and Tony Livingston give you, is on that pin pull, they pin down. They're pretty big dudes. They can pin down, right? You can use them on sweeps as they're being the lead blockers. Like, you can do a lot with a good blocking tight end, especially one that is athletic. Like, you could do a lot. And Tony is a freak athlete for his size and skill set. Let him go out there. Let him get in space and just get one-on-one with a corner and mow him down. Like, I don't get it. This coaching staff is just failing at developing a run game, which is what they're thinking. Like, that's their shtick. That's their shtick. They're supposed to be good at that. And they're failing horrendously at it. Just makes absolutely no sense to me. Just none. Yeah, it's I don't get it. It's incredibly frustrating. And the defense is honestly just as frustrating at this point. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Gators. You guys know that feeling when you just hit a wall? Because it happened to me today. I'm recording this late on Monday night, and it happened to me at about 4 o'clock. I was just like, oh, I got nothing. Like dead legs, as if I've been playing basketball all day. So it's like, all right, well, I got to do a show tonight. Prep the show, get ready for it. 5-hour energy shot. It's exactly what I use every single time now with 0 sugar and a convenient portable size. It's the perfect pick-me-up for getting stuff done. By the way, strawberry banana, second flavor. I don't know what the hell's going on with my neighbor's dog. If you could hear that in the background, but he just started freaking out. Strawberry banana, hell of a flavor. It's 1A, 1B with grape and then strawberry banana for me now. That's how I am with it. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, and get some 5-Hour Energy product today, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONCFB to receive 20% off your order. Offers only valid until September 30th. A week, less than a week. Just saying, cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Go to 5hourenergy.com today. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, every day. We are available daily and free reviews in the podcast and on YouTube. And this Florida Gators pass defense in general, might be the death of me. They might. We'll talk about the run defense later. Don't worry about that one. But the pass defense has just been atrocious. We've talked about this pass rush plan has just kind of been non-existent, which is crazy for me because that's the part of Florida's defense that's supposed to be good. That's what both Austin Armstrong and Ron Roberts, that's their thing. Like, that's where they're supposed to be these fantastic, brilliant minds in the football world of they know how to generate a pass rush. They know how to scheme up a pass rush. And I will give them credit against Mississippi State. Their pass rush plan looked more improved. Like, I'll give them credit where it's due. I have no problem with that. Their pass rush plan was better this past week, but I needed to be consistent and not against the worst remaining team on your schedule, second worst team on your schedule overall. Like, first off, this week, we could talk about the increased usage of off-ball blitzers. Sharie Denson blitzed 5 times. There were multiple times where Sharie Denson was straight up playing edge rusher. Like, he was lined up right on the edge, and I was like, who? Little number 0 over there. And I'll tell you, one thing he did really well was that since he's, of course, smaller than edge rushers, he was kind of just like ducking under blockers, and it was pretty effective. He picked up 2 pressures and a sack while blitzing just 5 times. So 2 pressures on 5 rushes. Like, he had the second most pressures on the team, rushing 5 times. Cam James had, I think, his best pass rushing game as a Gator or in college. Justice Boone had some pretty poppy plays there. But Florida's pass rush plan throughout throughout the course of the season so far has been just poor. It's been poor. They've been like, oh, you know what? We're going to blitz safeties off the ball. We're gonna not blitz at all or blitz safeties. And it just makes no sense to me how some of these things work. I like it when they go, hey, let's get DBs involved. Like let's get defensive backs involved in the pass rush. But me personally, I'm more of a boundary corner or slot corner, whatever, star, nickel DB, whatever it's called in your defense. Those are the guys that I like getting involved in the pass rush. Just, again, mentally, I'm like, all right, well, you've got the boundary corner. That's the one that is close. So if you got the hash, like, I know we talk all the time about, oh, college offensive coordinators do a really good job of utilizing the wider hash marks than the NFL. Because if we're on the far right hash and we've got a receiver on the far left side, then guess what? They've got to cover all that space in between. They've got to worry about, like if you're sitting in a zone, that gives you a lot more area. It's an unbalanced side, right? If they've got to cover just hash to field here or hash to boundary here and then hash to field, you could take advantage, right? Good defensive coordinators can do that as well. Good defensive coordinators can go, oh, you're on the right hash. We're blitzing our corner that's on that boundary side because he doesn't have that far to travel to get to you because the hashes are wider. So we can come downhill and attack you there. And things like that, like Florida needs to be better at utilizing that. And I like the idea of finally getting Sharie Denson involved. That was something I talked about for months of, hey, when you have someone like Ron Roberts, he's going to get Sharie Denson involved. He, again, historically, throughout his career, he has loved blitzing the slot. He did that a lot at Auburn. He's done it a lot at Baylor. He's always done that. He's always been like, hey, we're going to blitz our nickel defender. Sharie Denson has 6 blitzes this year. If you remember what I said 2 minutes ago, he blitzed 5 times against Mississippi State. I don't know where it came from that all of a sudden they chose to do it against Mississippi State. Maybe it's because they were going kind of condensed and then spread. Like it'd be like receivers out wide, but everybody else kind of tight. And they were like, well, if he's tight to the line, let's rush him. But he needs to be more involved in the pass rush. He just does. You need to be more creative with your blitzes. I don't know. Maybe it's a Napier thing where he's like, hey, we want to blitz the A gap and the B gap. So the edge guys, they're not coming in. They're not coming in hot there. I don't know what it is, but this pass rush needs to get better. George Gums has kind of popped at times, but not as much as I think some people are making it seem. He's an explosive athlete, but needs to pop a little bit more. But like some of your most productive guys on a per rush basis have been Sharie Denson and Jason Marshall. And Jason Marshall, we've seen be good as a blitzer throughout his career. He's only got 3 blitzes this year. Personally, I'm playing him as the boundary corner every single play, and I'm letting him collapse there. And coverage-wise, I don't know. This is the thing that drives me crazy. And when Will Harris got hired, I told you guys, I told the insiders first, which, by the way, links in the description below if you want to become a Locked On Gators insider. But I told the insiders first, and then I told you all. I don't know how much Will Harris really did at Washington. I know he recruiting wise, he gets to go, oh, well, look at all these first round DBs that I helped to get to the league. You get to do that. Absolutely. That's on your resume. You get that. You earn that. Sure. But I don't know how much work he really did because he was working under Jimmy Lake, who's a DB guru. And so I thought of this as, well, he either did the work and got the guys drafted in the first round, or he saw Jimmy Lake do the work and hopefully will be able to carry that over. And even if they've developed individually at this point, I feel like the communication aspect of playing in this defense has just completely broken down. We see constant miscues. I mean, if you follow me on Twitter, you've seen I'll sometimes just tweet for spaces because I'll be in a Twitter space and we'll be talking about plays, and I'll post something and we'll talk about the coverage. And half the time we're like, I don't know what they're doing because this guy's doing this weird thing and this guy's doing another weird thing, and they do not look like sure, there's hybrid coverages, there's combo coverages, absolutely. But sometimes I watch it and I'm like, what on earth are they doing right now? It doesn't look like a typical combo coverage or a hybrid coverage or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't look like that. It looks like they're just not in sync at all. And it makes no sense to me how that can be a thing with Ron Roberts, who's got 30 years of coaching experience, Will Harris, who played for Pete Carroll, another great DB coach at USC, coached under Jimmy Lake, like I mentioned, great DB coach. I don't understand how that experience together can have that many communication breakdowns and that many mental lapses from the guy who built the damn defense. I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. That's what's so frustrating about this freaking team right now, is that there's so many miscues and so many errors. And I look at them and I say, how the hell is that happening? Because it just doesn't make sense. Not that it doesn't make sense in the way of like, oh yeah, that's a weird thing. It just happens. Like you can't explain it. It's a consistent issue, and I have no idea what the hell is going on to explain what's happening. I've spoken to many people, and none of us know what the hell is happening with this defense right now. Can't explain it. Like I've spoken to someone, and I'm not saying that this is fact or anything. I've spoken to someone who has nothing to do with Florida, and they were like, "Oh well, Ron Roberts and Austin Armstrong are front seven guys. They're pass rush plan guys. So the communication breakdowns, coverage breakdowns, I'd put on the secondary coach." And I go, "Okay, but the pass rush plan hasn't been great either. So I don't know what anybody's doing right now." Like you can say, "Oh, the coverage breakdowns fall on the secondary coach." Absolutely. But the thing is that none of the defense has looked good. None of the defense has looked really competent from a schematic standpoint. That's what I don't understand. That's the baffling part to me. That, yeah, there's young guys on this team. Gerald Chapman's a young guy, a defensive line coach. Mike Peterson's a relatively young guy for a coach as the edge coach. Or at the very least, you can say not inexperienced, but, he doesn't have a super long resume. Austin Armstrong's still young, of course. Will Harris is young, sure, but he's got where he's been has been really good. Doesn't explain some of the things happening on this team, and I can't explain them. Believe me, I've tried. I wanted to do a show about explaining them. I can't do it. I damn near quit. I had no idea how to do it. But, I mean, that's not the only part of the defense that sucks, right? Run defense has been bad. We'll talk about that next on Locked On Gators. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hutch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on this same page where you place your bets. And you just swipe one tab over, and you can see all of your bets from that game. Quick and easy. Yesterday, my whole damn read was the UI has improved significantly since I started using FanDuel, since it got legalized here. It's beautiful. I love it. I love FanDuel. You can get started with $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Doesn't have to win. Just saying, get started at FanDuel.com. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day, every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts and on YouTube. And like I mentioned, the run defense, rough, right? And I chose to save run defense for last because when we talk about the rushing offense in the first segment, you can fix that. Like you could just straight up make personnel changes, maybe at right guard, bring in Bryce Lovett. At left guard, bring in Bryce Lovett. I don't care. He's been damn good this year. Rod Kearney, when he's healthy, get him into the rotation. I'm cool with it. Right tackle, maybe it's Caden Jones time. Maybe it's Devin Manuel time. I'm cool with it. The Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon can be your swing tackle. He's played both sides throughout his career. I think you could fix it. Schematically, you can change your approach to some things and fix it. Pass defense, I think you can fix it. I think that you took a step in the right direction against Mississippi State. I want to make that clear as far as pass defense goes. Your pass rush plan, much better. Jason Marshall was in his bag coverage-wise. It was great, right? Run defense is the thing that I think is least likely to get fixed. That's why I saved it for last. I think the other two you can genuinely fix. Run defense? I don't know. Because I look at run defense, and I'll say this. I played corner. I was not the most active run defender, okay? 5'11", 185 when I was playing. I wasn't the most active run defender. I wasn't hanging and banging, right? I did my part, but I wasn't lighting anybody up, trust me. Run defense to me, though, is like pass blocking for a running back. And by that, I mean a lot of your success as a run defending team is knowing your assignment and want to. That's as a running back, again, like talking about pass blocking as a running back, which, by the way, yesterday I tweeted out a video of all the pass blocking reps from running backs improved this year. But pass blocking as a running back, you have to know your assignment, know who you're supposed to be blocking, know what your responsibility is. You have to check the linebacker. If he's not blitzing, you run a route, whatever it may be, right? You got to know your assignment. But then when you do have to pass block, you need to put in effort there. You can't just go and take the hit. You've got to step in the way and punish, right? Pass pro ain't passive. Never forget that. Pass pro ain't passive. As a run defending team, or just as a defense defending the run, you need to know your assignment. Because I know that a lot of people, when you play Madden and it's just like, oh, I'm just going to run to where the ball's going. That's not how real life works, right? There's run fits. You're supposed to go, hey, if they're running outside zone, this is where I have to go. If they're running power, this is where I have to go. This is my responsibility. So as a team defending the run, you need to know your run fits. You need to know your assignment. Okay? Sure, once things get a little muddy, then things change, right? But you need to know your assignment. Okay? Then it's about your want to. We've talked a lot about corners where, again, I played corner. I wasn't a great run defender, but, I tried for the most part. But there's a lot of guys where they just don't. And by that, I mean, they don't really try their hardest. They usually take the approach of, I'm going to run as fast as I can and then ankle bite. And by ankle bite, I mean, they're just going to go as low as possible at your ankles, at your feet, grab them and hope that you fall. Opens you up to getting hurdled, opens you up to just getting run through. Or there's guys that make business decisions, whether it's, oh no, I can't get off the block, or I took a bad angle and he juked me out, whatever it may be. There's guys that do everything, right? There's people will figure out ways to not do their job in run defense. It's business decisions, right? Florida has been horrendous against the run. And honestly, I don't think the want to is the issue. There's not many guys that I look at and I go, you know what? He's just not trying. Like DJ Douglas, I've been extremely critical of. I think he has been terrible this year. I don't think it's the want to. I don't even know if it's the assignment. I feel like they've just been bad tackling. I mean, you look at the Mississippi State game, and I'll pull up the numbers, and I'm pretty sure it was 23 missed tackles Florida's defense had. I think it was 23 missed tackles, and if I'm not mistaken, it was 13 missed tackles against the run. But let's see. We'll pull it up. Yeah, it's 23 missed tackles. Bryce Thornton had 4. Shamar James had 3. DJ Douglas had 3. Sharie Denson had 2. Jordan Castell had 2. Tyreek Sapp had 2. Triquez Bridges had 2. And then 5 guys had 1. Right? And that's just overall. And then specifically against the run, they had 13 missed tackles. So yeah, 10 missed tackles in pass defense. I mean, this is just a team that, I don't think it's the want to that's the issue. Most of the guys seem like they've got the want to. Jordan Castell's been a little weird, where there's been a few plays where I go, I don't know if there's want to with him on some of these. I don't know if he's banged up or whatnot. Devin Moore's kind of similar sometimes. He's had a lot of injury history, so maybe he's trying to preserve his body for whatever reason. I don't think that what he's done so far this year is anything impressive, so it's not like he's preserving his body for the NFL. But I do think that there's been a fundamental breakdown of tackling technique, whether that's the angle that you take or actually wrapping up. I think that's DJ Douglas's biggest issue, is the wrapping up. And it's not even like he's trying to just crack people. He's just doing a terrible job tackling. And I think that's one of the least likely things you fix, honestly. I think once you're into the season, once you're a third of the way through the season, I think it's tough to go, well, that's going to, like, tackling's going to improve. Run defense is going to improve like that. It's not as simple in college. Like in the NFL, the Chiefs had a few couple weeks where they were not great defending the run. They play the Falcons, and they just start running around like maniacs and making big plays. And for Florida, you've got Pop Howard making plays. George Gums running like a maniac. But you've got so many guys missing tackles consistently. I mean, first off, DJ Douglas has 10 missed tackles already. Then there's 4 players with 4 missed tackles. Then there's 3 players with 3 missed tackles. That's a weird coincidence that there's 4 players with 4 missed tackles, 3 players with 3 missed tackles, 2 players with 2 missed tackles, and then a bunch of guys with 1 missed tackle. But I think the tackling technique is horrible. Again, whether it's actually wrapping up, driving, and bringing people down, or if it's the angle that you're taking, whatever it may be, I don't think it's so much the want to. Because I think want to, the way you fix it is we're going to put a new guy in there. We're going to put someone who wants to do it there. And that's your fix. I think knowing your assignment, you go, hey, study the playbook. Like we're going to get you to study the playbook. We're going to go through walkthroughs and we're going to simulate, hey, this is a run, and we're going full speed walkthrough, but full speed where we're just running the play. We might not be hitting, but we might say, hey, no, just shells, no hitting, no popping, but we're going to full speed go through the run play so you could see what's happening in front of you with the line and go and handle your responsibility. You could fix that a bit. When it's technique, I think at this point in the season, you go, okay, well, we worked on technique all summer, all spring, and you just never got it. And I think that technique with tackling is something that it does take a while to get better at. I don't think you could just go, hey, wrap up like this and go through it. And you go, oh, duh. It's like you're told to do it. It's muscle memory. And a lot of these guys are just not doing that successfully at all. Like Bryce Thornton has 4 missed tackles. He hasn't played a lot. He's played 75 snaps this year. He's got 4 missed tackles. DJ Douglas has played 171 snaps, and he's got 10. Like, there's guys that haven't played that much and have more missed tackles than other people. I don't get it, honestly. I don't. But it's something that desperately needs to be fixed because these guys are going to keep getting smoked. They've got UCF in their next game. They've got the bye this week, and next week is UCF. 2 weeks after that, they've got Kentucky. And also, by the way, Tennessee, who's sandwiched in between those, they run the ball. Yeah, the vertical passing game is Josh Heupel's shtick. They've got Josh Heupel's shtick there. They've got Nico Elamilevea. I'm sorry if I butchered that pronunciation. But that's that Bryles spread. They spread you out real wide and then run it at you. And so Florida, this isn't going to be an easy time. There's going to be times where you are trailing in games for the remainder of the season. We know that for a fact, right? You're going to be trailing. Teams are going to be trying to run the ball. If you can't stop the run, buddy boy, you're cooked. If you can't stop the run and you're trailing, they're just going to keep scoring, even if it's field goals. Then you'd have to score a touchdown every single time when you're trailing and they're kicking field goals. It's tough. Run defense is not something that I think will get fixed, but you have to win wherever you can at this point. You have to improve wherever you can, and you've got, 11 days at this point until your next game? It's nut cutting time, right? Defense needs to improve. Offense needs to improve. Florida Gators need to improve. And hopefully they'll be able to use the bye week to do that. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free web listen to the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk more Florida Gators football for Locked On Gators. I am Brandon Olsen. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI, and I will see you all next time.